All right, everybody, welcome back and bear down, and really all fans out there, because this is not a Bear-specific video. This is going to be a video about the understanding of the NFL draft order, because there are a few complexities to it, a few things we can learn all the time. We all learn new things all the time, even if we've been to the draft a couple of times. So this will be a nice escape, I guess, from all of the controversy with Caleb Williams, Justin Fields. There's no controversy in this video. This is really just a basic understanding video. So let's dive into it so that we can get through it, because it is just factual. Number one, determining the draft order. It's meant to be a competitive leveler, to make those teams that are worst have the better picks so they can get the better players and be more competitive the next year. All of this information is right off of nfl.com. You have to look for it. It's kind of hard to get to, so that's why I made this video. So it's a quick, condensed, easy place to get all that information from. But each team receives one pick in each of the 7 rounds of the draft. The selection order is determined by the reverse order how teams finished. Additional rules apply if an expansion or new team are coming into the league. And if 2 or more teams are tied in terms of winning percentage, after all 32 teams have made a pick, it's considered the end of one round. So for the basis round, for the first round, if there is an expansion team, they go first. If there's more than one expansion team, they flip a coin to determine which team gets to go first. If there are no expansion teams, the team with the lowest winning percentage at the end of the previous season drafts first. All their teams that failed to make the playoff are then placed in order from the lowest to highest winning percentage. Strength of schedule for previous season is the first tiebreaker for teams with the same winning percentage. Team with the lowest strength of schedule percentage wins the tiebreaker and picks ahead of all other teams with the same record. Next comes the team who is eliminated in the first round of the playoff. Place in order from the lowest winning percentage to the highest based on the regular season record, not including the playoffs, followed by those eliminated in the second round. Again, then the conference championship, then the Super Bowl loser, then the Super Bowl winner drafts last. You can go to several different sites to see the draft order of where things are. A couple of them that I like to go to are here left as Tankathon, because it shows you where the picks went and not just which team has them. So you can see the Bears got their pick from Carolina, who's shadowed out. You can see Houston got the 23rd pick from Cleveland. Arizona got their pick from Houston. So it's kind of fun that way. You can also see in the third round that Miami lost their pick. It's forfeited for their tampering with Tom Brady. The one on the right there is from Draft Tech. They have a really good way with a couple of different trade value charts. This is the Jimmy Johnson trade value chart, but you can see your team and you can highlight your team. So I did that with the Bears and I posted it on here. You can see below that 32 line, kind of the basis right there for the Niners. If you go across all those picks down below that 32 line below are comp picks. You see most of those are in the 5th round because a lot of free agents are lost. We'll go over comp picks in just 1 minute. But here's one thing that gets lost in the shuffle, and it's fun to learn about some of these types of things. We all learn new things all the time. 2nd through 7th rounds and subsequent rounds, teams with the same record rotate draft positions regardless of whether they made the playoffs. The only exception are Super Bowl teams, which always pick last. So look right down there, 8 through 11 all had 7 and 10 records. The same with 2 through 4. Washington, New England, and Arizona, they all had 4 and 13 records. So they rotate each round. Notice in the first round, Washington had the 2nd pick, but in the second round, they had the 3rd pick. And then in the, 4th overall, but 3rd out of the grouping of teams. So they have the 2nd in that round, then the 4th in that round, then the 3rd in that round, then the 2nd in that round, and then the 4th in that round as you get into the 5th round. The same with the Bears. So the Bears have the 2nd behind Atlanta. Atlanta had a better strength of schedule, so they picked ahead of us. So we got the 9th pick. In the second round, we would have gotten the 8th pick of that round. We rotated up one spot, and Atlanta rotated to the back of that group of 4 teams down to 43. We traded that pick to Washington. So Washington has that pick. Then in the 3rd round, we're at the back of the pack again, but then in the 4th round, up to the 3rd of those 4 teams, and then in the 5th round, back to our original spot because it's 4 rounds later. We've rotated through all 4, and so on and so on. You can see in the 6th round, that's the pick we traded for Dan Feeney. And in the 7th round, that's the pick 2 years ago that we traded for N'Keal Harry. So the strength of schedule for previous seasons is the first tiebreaker for teams with the same winning percentage. Team with the lowest strength of schedule percentage wins the tiebreaker and picks ahead of all other teams with the same record. Divisional and conference records are the next step in tiebreaking procedures. As a last resort, a coin flip toss is used to determine the order of selection for teams with the same winning percentage. Kind of interesting. All right, and then the last thing we're going to get to is comp picks, compensatory picks, and then supplemental picks. So the number of comp picks allotted each year is all based off of the collective bargaining agreement. It's an exchange for departing players. So basically, if we break it down, the more good players you have departing and you don't replace them with as good of players, you're going to get comp picks from the league to try to make it fair and balance out. So to qualify for a comp pick, a team must end up with more or better qualifying free agents lost than teams in a particular year. And it's limited to a number of teams in the league, 32 per the collective bargaining agreement. However, comp picks are not divided equally among the teams, and no team can receive more than 4 comp picks. For players leaving, they can receive more than that total in a single year. Teams are awarded comp picks in between rounds 3 and 7 based on a league formula that takes into account a player's average salary per year, snap count, postseason awards. While there's an expected level of compensation for a player based on the amount he is signed for, his playing time or lack thereof in the upcoming season could alter the expectation. All right, the Rooney Rule is for the GMs and the executives and the head coaches. This is basically a minority initiative to encourage teams to be more inclusive with their hiring. In November of 2020, the NFL announced it would award 2 third-round selections, 1 in consecutive years, which is what we were looking forward to with Ian Cunningham. I've mentioned it in other videos. It's actually better we keep Cunningham with the draft capital we have this year and how valuable he is as a scout. So it's good we have him. We can get this in the future. He will be hired in the future. To any team that has a minority coach or executive hired as a head coach or a general manager by another NFL club, teams that lost employees to a head coach and general manager position would receive 3. So both. And those selections come at the back end of the comp picks awarded in the third round. The 49ers received their first of 3 picks in 2023 as a result of having Rand Carthon, Titans GM, and D'Amico Ryans, Texans head coach, hired away in the offseason. All right, and lastly, supplemental picks. This is something we kind of got surprised with last year. It was a nice surprise. Supplemental selection per the CBA collective bargaining agreement. It's awarded when the number of comp picks selections is less than 32. They're awarded in term of draft order. So last year they were 2 shy of the 32. So the Bears and the Texans both got a free pick. We both got a supplemental pick at the end of the draft to end it with 258 and 259. We took Kendall Williamson, ended up being a free pick for us. He's not even with the team anymore. Those 7th round picks aren't nearly as valuable. You don't know how they're going to turn out. But it was nice to have that surprise free pick. All right, so those comp picks can be announced at any time, but here's an example of the comp picks. The Niners won last year with 7 comp picks because they had so many people going out. So their projected comp picks this year is, again, the same situation. 2 in round 3, 2 in round 5, and 1 in round 6. Again, this is a projection. This is from NFL.com from one of their writers. This is what they're projecting because their free agent losses were Samson Ebukam, Jimmy Garoppolo, Mike McGlinchey, Emmanuel Mosley, Charles Omenihu, Jimmy Ward, and their free agent additions were Sam Darnold and Javon Hargrave. You see their analysis. 49ers will receive the second of 3 third-round awards for losing D'Amico Ryans and Rand Carthon. This offseason, the departure of Garoppolo was canceled out by the signing of Hargrave, so they're saying those 2 were equal signing and loss. Hargrave was the value of Garoppolo. But the loss of McGlinchey nets a third-rounder. He's a high value, high demand free agent. So Mike McGlinchey going to the Broncos nets them a third-round comp pick. If you're keeping track of the leaderboard for comp picks, 49ers are undisputed kings. Last 2 seasons with 7 received in 2023 and 5 projected in 2024. The Bears are projected at this point to have 0. We haven't lost any high value free agents, and we've brought in more valuable free agents than we've lost. All right, so that was a rushed and quick explanation of the NFL draft order. Hopefully it's valuable to you guys. It helps me when I learn some of those things and when I get more knowledge. So hopefully this is something that just gives you a little feather under the cap to look back at if you want to have a better understanding of how the draft works, how comp picks, supplemental picks, even the rotating of draft picks throughout the order. Stuff I learn all the time as well. We all learn as we go along, which makes this a whole fun experience for all of us. As we look forward to this year's draft, more than anything, this is going to be a historic draft for the Bears. 1st and 9th overall picks. Those are high blue chip value targets. It's going to be fun to see what Ryan Poles does with it, no matter what. If he picks a quarterback, if he trades down, if he acquires more draft capital, there's so much value in those 2 picks that the options are endless, which is why this is so controversial right now, but it's so much fun. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully the next couple months go by quick so we can all enjoy it together. But until next time, thanks for tuning in. Hit the like button if you haven't because I do appreciate it, and bear down.